Is everybody ready?
用意はいいかい？ディズニーの歌をみんなの好きなディズニーの歌を家で楽しめるんだよ。伴奏するからみんな歌えるよ。でもね、全部知らないもん。大丈夫、すぐに歌えるよ。やってみりゃ音楽は誰だって楽しいものだ。
So yeah, it turns out Disney sing-along songs totally got dubbed into a bunch of languages as well. From Canta con Nosotros to Chantons Ensemble, Disney sing-along songs have spread far and wide into the cultural phenomena we all know and love. One of the key points of it has always been...
Sing along, one and all, follow the dancing ball.
Everyone remembers the bouncing ball, and ironically you were lucky if there was more than one song per tape with that level of animation applied over the top. So class, it's time for a history lesson!
Although a lot of us may have learned of Follow the Bouncing Ball from Disney sing-along songs, the bouncing ball is actually a cinema trope. The technique is thought to have appeared around 1924 when Max Fleischer, the co-founder of Fleischer Studios, pioneered the technique as a way of leading audiences to sing along in theatres, particularly for Coco song cartoons. This obviously predated karaoke, which didn't exist until 1970. The idea was to get the theatre crowd to sing along. Interestingly, this was at the advent of sound on film, which began in 1923. In particular, song cartoons was one of the first examples of animation with sound. Now some people may ask, but what about Steamboat Willie? Well, the interesting thing about Steamboat Willie is it was one of the first animations with synchronized sound, which in this case doesn't mean what it sounds like. Synchronized sound back then meant the sound and animation were recorded on the same film strip. The Fleischer Brothers' works were indeed around before Steamboat Willie, but in this case the operator had a film strip that began playing. They would then start the music at a specific point and hope it lined up from there, giving the illusion of synchronicity. This was the case for the early Coco song cartoons, but the later ones from 1926 onwards used phonofilm.
Follow the ball and join in, everybody!
Which had very poor quality, and the technology was replaced in 1928 for Disney's Steamboat Willie.
Jumping forward, karaoke became a big hit in the 1970s, especially in Japan. They continued popularity way into the 80s and even became popular worldwide. In fact, it was mainly during the 80s that karaoke started to shift into the home market, mainly via VHS. See where this is going? So, in 1986, a particular company that had a wide array of popular family-friendly songs entered the market and produced their own VHS series, which included the bouncing ball. Yes, this is how Disney sing-along songs was born.
And what an array they had! Disney sing-along songs spanned from 1986 to 2006, with 4 separate runs and more than 30 volumes in total. So, you know the whole Professor Owl shtick where he runs in and starts a class and they all sing the opening? Well, the footage for these segments is directly lifted from a mix of 2 old Disney shorts named Melody and Toot Whistle Plunk and Boom, as well as an episode of Walt Disney Presents that had a special extended version of Toot Whistle Plunk and Boom in it, in which Professor Owl teaches a class of birds about music. Whenever the Disney sing-alongs used Professor Owl, they pulled clips from these 2 theatrical shorts from 1953 and the Walt Disney Presents episode from 1959. And surprisingly, they even adapted this clip.
Now stay very close behind me. Don't pardon my back.
Now stay very close behind me and keep me in sight. Not that close.
We'll be dealing with a lot of older media that hasn't aged well. Due to the nature of this material, we feel it is important to provide a disclaimer. Please pause the video and read it at your leisure, as many of the topics we are covering contain stereotypical depictions of various races, cultures, and ethnicities that were wrong then and are wrong now.
Behind-the-scenes looks at these shorts actually reveal that Professor Owl was originally intended to be a blackbird, though it was likely changed in an attempt to avoid the racist stereotype that was brought with such an implication. After the change, concept art also shows Professor Owl as a more natural brown colour, and interestingly enough, it also shows Bertie Birdbrain, the dunce who doesn't know all the songs, go from a fairly close design in the original storyboards to a more round and oafish character in the revision. The first sing-along songs tape was called Zippity Doo-Dah, which came out in 1986, mainly to promote the 40th anniversary theatrical re-release of Song of the South on November 21st, 1986. The way Disney made these up was by reusing existing footage. Then there are the songs. Obviously, the songs from films just showed the clips of the film, but the first tape included It's a Small World as one of its songs. This meant that instead of filming new footage of the ride at Disneyland, they pulled from another archival video, this time from Disneyland Goes to the World's Fair from 1964. And it kept going like that. The next tape was released in 1987, hosted by Professor Owl and called Hi-Ho. This too was released as a means to promote something, this time the 50th anniversary theatrical re-release of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Funnily, Disney considers Hi-Ho as Volume 1 and Zippity Doo-Dah as Volume 2, as Zippity Doo-Dah was released prior to them numbering them. In the same year, The Bare Necessities was released, this time hosted by Jiminy Cricket. You may have noticed a theme. This one was released to celebrate the 20th anniversary of The Jungle Book.
You Can Fly was released in 1988, this time to, you've guessed it, mark the 35th anniversary of Peter Pan. This was also the first episode to be hosted by Ludwig von Drake. For some weird reason, Disney decided to number these two volumes the opposite way round, making You Can Fly Volume 3 and The Bare Necessities Volume 4. Just as a side note, similarly to the Professor Owl segments, whenever Ludwig von Drake presented, his footage was pulled from old cartoon shorts as well. We won't go into every individual volume's footage, but as an example, in the case of You Can Fly, all his footage was a mix of the 4 shorts: Carnival Time, Fly with Von Drake, Kids is Kids, and A Square Peg in a Round Hole. The same goes for Jiminy Cricket, who also appeared in many Disney short cartoons.
1988 was another double release year, with Very Merry Christmas songs out. This one was weird, as it didn't bear the traditional Professor Owl opening, instead having a Christmas book slowly open. It starts with Jiminy Cricket singing and Mickey Mouse playing the piano, so I guess it would count as Jiminy Cricket hosting it, even though he doesn't pop up throughout like the other volumes. Still, he closes it with a Christmas message after the credits.
From all of us to all of you, Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year.
This one is also considered a special and isn't technically a numbered volume. In 1989, Volume 5, Fun with Music was released, and was the first volume to have Professor Owl and Ludwig von Drake co-host it.
Wonderful!
The other unique thing about this volume is that, unlike the other non-Christmas themed ones, it was the first not to promote an anniversary re-release of an older film. Instead, it featured songs from a then recently released Disney film, Oliver and Company.
Next, we have Volume 6, known as Under the Sea, from 1990, once more hosted by Ludwig von Drake. This was notable for the fact it was the first of the Disney sing-alongs to also feature music not from Disney films, but set to clips of Disney movies and cartoons, referred to as Disney scenes.
Still in 1990, there was an interesting release for Volume 7. Disneyland Fun was the first Disney theme park sing-along video hosted by Professor Owl that used footage of Disneyland's rides and attractions in California. Why did I specify? Because there are 2 versions. There is indeed Disneyland Fun, but they also made an alternate version in 1993 called Let's Go to Disneyland Paris, both of which used several of the same songs but had variations.
Today we're going to the happiest place on earth. Today we're going to the happiest place we know.
They clearly filmed different versions, such as in the Let's Go to Disneyland Paris tape, which features much more modern characters for the time, such as those from Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, and The Little Mermaid. Though, the Disneyland Fun tape did give Zippity Doo-Dah a rap verse.
Well, you know it is a thrill when you go downhill, 'cause you're riding on the mountain of your own free will, and you're zipping in a flash on a daring dash, down a waterfall so rapid that you go split splash. Zip, 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 zip. Zip, 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 zip. Zip, 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 zip.
Interestingly enough, the Disneyland Fun tape wasn't dubbed into most European languages, though it was readily available in the United Kingdom. Pretty much each European language dub only featured the Let's Go to Disneyland Paris version.
1990 also held the release of Volume 8, entitled I Love to Laugh, once more hosted by Ludwig von Drake. This was the 8th volume and featured a lot of Mary Poppins segments, so much so that they later renamed the tape to Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious in 1994, possibly to tie into Mary Poppins' 30th anniversary. We're going to continue in chronological order, but drop naming them as volumes, as the next few are spotty, and we found multiple instances of Disney shuffling the order for fun or something. For example, the end of I Love to Laugh VHS has this list with Ludwig von Drake ad-libbing about them.
Ooh, look at this! We got all these other sing-along songs that you can sing songs along with the sing songs. Anyway.
But then the back of one of the later VHSs lists this. So for everyone's sanity, mainly ours, we decided to just continue on and ignore the numbering from here on out.
The next one was released in 1992 and was called Be Our Guest and was hosted by Jiminy Cricket. This one is best known for having a song removed after the original release. The original version contained a little wooden head from Pinocchio as one of its songs, but it was cut from the re-releases in 1993 onwards and was never even present in most international versions. Speaking of 1993, that was the year Friend Like Me came out and was hosted by Jiminy Cricket again. This one was special for the fact it had a special instrumental of Friend Like Me over the title card, and then led into a funny remixed version of the normal introduction, and surprisingly, it was present on all versions of the dubbed openings.
Is everybody ready?
To sing along!
It's Disney song.
We
みんなの好きなディズニーの歌を家で楽しめるんだよ。
The remixed song was used a few times after this too, but this was its debut. This was also the first time Professor Al didn't announce the host. Jiminy Cricket just showed up to do it. Next, we have another Christmas special, The 12 Days of Christmas, which came out in 1993. This was another Disney theme park sing-along video, but this one had no host. It just follows Mickey and friends spending Christmas at Mickey's log cabin and Disneyland. Continuing into 1994, we have Circle of Life, once more featuring Jiminy Cricket as the host. Interestingly, this segment was replaced by a random voiceover in the 2003 re-release.
Circle of Life, The Lion King.
Another amusing change was the UK VHS release, which replaced Everybody Wants to Be a Cat with Following the Leader for some reason. The 2003 re-release also added some bonus songs, including songs from the Timon and Pumbaa show and The Jungle Book 2.
And now it's time for one of the weird things to come out of sing-along songs.
Mickey's Fun Songs time is here, we're ready for some fun. Yahoo! We never know what might appear, come and join us everyone. That's you!
Mickey's Fun Songs was originally a separate project from 1994 to 1995. There are but 3 videos, and each has a theme the songs revolve around.
Mickey's Fun Songs time is here!
Whoa!
Well, Disney made the fun decision to reissue the 3 under the sing-along songs name in early 1996. And they did it seamlessly. So first up, we have Camp Out at Walt Disney World. This is about Mickey and friends, including the Fun Song Kids, as they're named on the back of the VHS, setting up their camp in Fort Wilderness, then exploring the surrounding areas, including the now defunct Discovery Island and River Country, and then all participating in a talent show, before settling down around the campfire for the night. The songs are mainly country-themed and folk songs, including such classics as Country Roads and If You're Happy and You Know It. The only Disney song actually used in this is the bare necessities. Moving on, the next of these is Let's Go to the Circus. This one begins on a very weird note.
Everybody look!
Hi guys, you want to come with me for a backstage tour?
Yeah, not creepy at all. Anyway, the plot of this one is Mickey and friends, again with the aforementioned fun song kids, go to the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus, where they explore the show both on and off stage. This again only contains one Disney song, I Wanna Be Like You, while the others are as circus themed as they could find. There's also this awkward 5 minutes of the creepy clown guy from before, who is actually called David Larrabell, making a bunch of random people, as well as Donald and Goofy, shake bells vaguely to the theme from New York, New York. It's kinda weird. Finally, we have Beach Party at Walt Disney World. This one is still Mickey and friends, and of course, the fun song kids, off partying on an unnamed beach allegedly at Walt Disney World. Honestly, it does seem like one of the lake resort beaches, so they did likely film it on site.
Those surfers must be the coolest dudes. I can't wait to ride the big one at Typhoon Lagoon. Let's go!
After a great advertisement for Typhoon Lagoon, we get to see more of the joy of the water park, including Goofy surfing in the wave pool and the gang snorkeling in the now defunct Shark Reef. After a few more silly bits, they all decide to go over to Blizzard Beach and shoot more advertisement footage. They finally make their way to the Polynesian Village Resort, where they attend a luau and then go back to one of the resort beaches to party in the evening, in front of the electrical water pageant. This one surprisingly had 2 Disney songs in it instead of just one, as we had A Pirate's Life, as well as Part of Your World. They also wrote an original song called Set Your Name Free for this one, which introduces all of the kids, making it weird that this was produced and released last. It was apparently inspired by a Barney and Friends episode called On the Move. This doesn't end here though. In 2005, for Disneyland's 50th anniversary, they re-released the theme park themed sing-along song tapes, including 2 of the 3 Mickey's Fun Songs ones. Although under the sing-alongs branding, the copy on the DVD was actually the Mickey's Fun Songs variant, with the Mickey's Fun Song opening song too. There's also the very important note of the Fun Song Kids. Well, they apparently no longer exist. They are now redubbed Sing-Along Kids on the back of the new DVD. The horror!
And just like that, we are back into the hosted variety of sing-along songs. Colours of the Wind was presented by Ludwig van Drake and came out in 1995. This is sadly the last sing-along songs released to have the traditional host style, but don't worry, the awesome Professor Al opening still remains. The other note of this volume is the bouncing ball animation, which varies from US release to international, as the UK version and all dubs feature a Pocahontas-themed bouncing ball Mickey head. In contrast, the original US release didn't have one at all, as they just had the colour-changing word-style karaoke. 1996 yielded Topsy Turvy, better known as The Hunchback of Notre Dame, for the international market. As previously mentioned, this one had no host, so each segment is separated by an animation of some curtains moving, and opening to reveal the title, then going into the sing-along. This tape also has an interesting difference between its international and US releases, as several songs were changed. The Timon and Pumbaa song, Stand By Me, was used in the US release, being the first Disney television song in a sing-along songs release. Yet, in the international release, it was cut and instead replaced with Sing a New Song from the Little Mermaid TV series. Meanwhile, from a bunch of other cut songs, Father and Son from Aladdin and the King of Thieves and Forget About Love from The Return of Jafar were added in as well, making the international release the first to feature both TV series and sequel movie songs. The 2 releases are very different, with only the sing-along song theme Topsy Turvy, You've Got a Friend in Me, Streets of Gold out there, and the reprise of Topsy Turvy being the same. Still in 1996, there was also Pongo and Perdita, which was unsurprisingly made to help promote the 1996 live-action film 101 Dalmatians. This is a live-action one with a story, and the story is, it's the day of the annual Bow Wow Ball at the Dalmatian Plantation. Pongo and Perdita, and Nanny, do their best to keep your favourite puppies from Disney's new live-action hit 101 Dalmatians out of trouble before their friends arrive for the big party. Features a never-before-released song from Disney's animated 101 Dalmatians. Don't be late, you'll have a ball. So we open to... just a sec. Remember that disclaimer, everyone? Yeah, so we open to a woman's voice singing Zippity-Doo-Dah randomly, trying to use the song in a way to evoke a good day rather than the unfortunate ties that song brings nowadays. This one as a whole has more Mickey's Fun Song vibes, as they use a lot of well-known songs in place of Disney-specific ones and the whole here's a plot to follow thing they have going. The only other note of interest is they shortened the sing-along's opening to just the initial title tune and had a long pause on a black screen, just like Mickey's Fun Songs did. We have another special one next, from Hercules, which came out in 1997 everywhere except the USA.
But how is it possible?
It's not.
They made an international-only volume! This is made in the exact same style as the Hunchback one, except instead of curtains, it has old Greek-like scrolls showing the names of the upcoming songs.
1997 brought a new sub-brand of sing-along songs, but Disney decided to add another subtitle to the releases. So instead of just Disney sing-along songs, it was now Disney Sing-Along Songs, Collection of All-Time Favourites. We have Collection of All-Time Favourites, The Early Years, Collection of All-Time Favourites, The Magic Years, and Collection of All-Time Favourites, The Modern Classics. Don't worry, Professor Owl is still present for the remix version of the opening.
Why do you keep saying that?
Oh, you'll see!
Anyway, these are technically hosted by Professor Owl, as he voices over before each song.
Join right in, you know how. Let's all sing about Pinocchio now.
They each serve as an anthology of Disney songs for specific eras, so Early Years is songs from 1933 to 1949, Magic Years is songs from 1950 to 1977, and Modern Classics is songs from 1989 to 1997. Continuing on, we have Honour to Us All in 1998, which is still hosted by Professor Owl, but once more only via voiceover.
Now, let's meet the newest member of our Disney family, Mulan!
This is also the last of the sing-alongs to feature one of the main hosts, as they decided to go in a different direction from here on out.
Happy Haunting Party at Disneyland was released in the same year, and was another theme park special. The Magic Mirror hosts this one, which follows Mickey and friends having a spooky Halloween party in Disneyland. This one again feels like a Mickey's Fun Song style production.
Next we have Sing a Song with Pooh Bear,
and Piglet too,
from 1999, which was later re-released as a Disney Sing-Along Songs in 2003. This one starts with a computer-animated tour of Christopher Robin's bedroom, where you can see his stuffed toys. Surprisingly, this has a storyline. The story is, Pooh is trying to find his song.
Exciting!
This original release also features a How to Draw segment hosted by Gopher at the end of the video, teaching kids how to draw Winnie the Pooh.
Want another theme park promotion? You betcha! Disney has you covered. Flik's musical adventure at Disney's Animal Kingdom came out in 1999, just a year after the park had opened, likely as a soft advertisement and promotion of the park's attractions. This one is special, for it has custom animation of Flik from It's a Bug's Life, produced by Pixar. He is obviously the host. This was clearly a late addition though, as the opening previews from the Sing a Song with Pooh Bear VHS from 1999 indicate that they plan to call it Animal Safari instead. And Rafiki and Safari Mickey are featured far more prominently than Flik on the original cover. It was also a step forward into modernisation, as the back of the VHS case has a URL address for www.disneyvideos.com. Funnily, This is the only sing-along video set inside one of the theme parks where Mickey and Minnie appear, but don't speak.
So the video is literally just Mickey and friends running around Animal Kingdom, right? Can I have that disclaimer, please? Thanks. For some weird reason, they felt the need to represent the Asia part of the park like this.
Welcome to the world of mystery. Asia is the pearl across the sea. The land of ancient wisdom in the east. From India to Thailand to the China Sea.
No comment.
Fun fact! Did you know that the Japanese version of Flik's musical adventure at Disney's Animal Kingdom wasn't released under the Disney Sing-Along Songs series? Instead, it was released in 1999 and called Animal Kingdom Dance, Dance, A Great Adventure, and the VHS subtitle reads, Flik will be your guide. This was likely because it was released after Disney stopped producing their Japanese version of sing-along songs. The last release was Sing with Disney, Happy Christmas in 1996, better known in English as The 12 Days of Christmas. Continuing on.
The last in the original release set is upon us. In 2000, Winnie the Pooh, Sing a Song with Tigger came out as a tie-in to the Tigger movie. This one is interesting, as it was a sequel to Sing a Song with Pooh Bear and Piglet 2, which had a sing-along songs version on VHS. But this one never received the branding, even though it technically is the follow-on from the other one. It would seem Disney considered doing a more varied series of Sing a Song with Winnie the Pooh character-specific song collections. Anyway, this one's story is Tigger is showing you his scrapbook. As exciting as the Pooh one! Just like the Sing a Song with Pooh Bear, this one features the CGI Christopher Robin's bedroom opening. This also had some random music videos after the main feature to promote other movies coming out soon on VHS and DVD, such as A Girl Worth Fighting For from Mulan. It would take another 3 years, but sing-along songs would triumphantly return with Brother Bear On My Way in 2003.
And it had a new opening.
New opening? What do you mean?
You'll see.
No!
Who can sing along? Sing your very favorite song. We'll play for you every note so you can sing along.
So yes, Sebastian is now the face of Disney sing-along songs. Even though he totally existed for the majority of the older stuff, Disney decided to retire the old song in favour of promoting Sebastian. Because he conducts music?
One and all, just follow the bouncing ball. You find out before you're done that music's fun for everyone, so join my kids, sing along.
This serves as a soft reboot of the franchise, hence why there was a short hiatus.
Thank you.
This one is hosted by Rut and Took, on their way to meet with Kenai and Coda at the Salmon Run.
This one has particularly lazy animation compared to the recent ones. Rut and Took are practically tweening from behind and walk cycling to the right throughout their sections.
Oh gee, it's that guy again.
Look, it's that guy we like!
Ugh.
Yes, Stitch is featured in this one. Not for the most popular song, Hawaiian Roller Coaster Ride. No, for the full-length theme song to his show. Of course! This marks the first time a TV show theme song was used, I guess. They also hurled Dig a Tunner from The Lion King 1.5 in to promote the movie, which at the time was upcoming.
Next we have Home on the Range Little Patch of Heaven from 2004. As you can guess by the name, this is about Home on the Range, so it is hosted by Maggie the Cow. This one's main notable feature is it is the only sing-along songs released to use a song from an original Playhouse Disney series, in this case, Stanley's Dinosaur Roundup. Other than that, it has a lot of similar songs and vibes to Camp Out at Walt Disney World.
We're on the home stretch now. Disney Princess Sing-Along Songs was the final few chapters of the Sing-Along Songs franchise. They all feature the Sebastian opening, and there are 3 volumes.
The first one, Once Upon a Dream, came out in 2004 and has some random lady's voice hosting.
Oh, hello. Good to see you.
Yeah, that's not patronising at all.
Anyway, we're apparently in the Land of Dreams, aka a bunch of clouds. and we're here just to meet the Disney princesses, and by that, it means the narrator will creepily let you spy on them.
And there is something stirring in Cinderella's room. Let's go see.
Still weird. You don't ever interact or talk to the princesses, you just drift through the land of dreams and kind of just observe them singing a song they are known for.
It's also relevant to note that this is back when Disney had a very loose definition of princess, so it includes heroines as well, such as Megara, and ones who are still in the banner now despite not being a princess, such as Mulan and Pocahontas. That said, it does feature the 3 princesses from Mulan too, which is a rare choice pick considering. The final song, If You Can Dream, is also just part of the Disney Princess franchise, but first appeared in this sing-along songs. A few weeks later released on the album Disney Princess, the Ultimate Song Collection.
The whole thing is just weird and has no ending, you just kinda stop when you get to If You Can Dream. Next we have Disney Princess Sing-Along Songs Volume 2 Enchanted Tea Party, and surprisingly, we actually have a vague plot to this one. The voice asks what dream you'd like to see today, and it then answers it for you.
What dream would you like to see today? A tea party with the Disney princesses? That sounds like fun!
So after all the princesses show up, it's up to you to decide where they sit. You decide based on the stuff at each seat, such as beautiful roses and French pastries. This one boasts having some actually rare princesses, such as Maid Marian from Robin Hood and Melody from Little Mermaid 2.
We then get a really cool dance scene!
And here are all the princesses come together for our tea party. They dance so wonderfully and look so beautiful. Can you name them all?
You can barely tell that they loop the animation! Awesome!
Very good.
We finish after this really cool dance to another Disney princess song, this time Where Dreams Begin, which actually appears to be exclusive to this piece. Finally, we have Disney Princess Sing-Along Songs Volume 3, Perfectly Princess, which is quite literally the last piece of sing-along song media released.
Get back in here!
This one has the amazing idea of asking if you would like to be a Disney princess, then deciding it will teach you by showing you the royal letterbox, or how I like to put it, spying on their mail.
Why don't we look through the royal letterbox? I'm sure there are plenty of letters from our Disney princess friends with some good advice on how to be the best princess you can be.
And clearly this was some juicy mail because Ariel is up first with a song from her own show. And not just any song, the song she uses to stop evil Manta. I wish they showed the reprise though.
Listen to me!
No, you listen to us.
That would have been perfect.
I don't know who these princesses were writing to, but it outright shows you the inside of their letter and their signature, so yes, you are tampering with mail. Surprisingly, they were actually clearly trying to pick very different songs to what they'd previously used because, on top of Ariel's series song, we have an Aladdin and the King of Thieves song for Jasmine, and even more surprisingly, Belle sings A Little Thwart from Beauty and the Beast Belle's Magical World. We see the return of Melody again, which implies they really thought she'd make it into the main princess line. After reading a bunch of mail you shouldn't have, the voice says you can totally follow the good advice you read and become a true princess. Then it U-turns and is like, it's not all make-believe from Ella Enchanted. It's just a video of all the princesses, but what the? Ella Enchanted isn't even a Disney film! Apparently, Miramax Films distributed it, which was owned by Disney at the time, so this is a very abrupt and funny end to the Disney sing-along songs. A non-Disney song shoehorned its way in as the final song. What a ride!
There is a piece we skipped over that we need to briefly discuss, and that is Sebastian's Caribbean Jamboree from 1991. Now no, this isn't a sing-along songs piece, but it was produced in a similar vein, looking a bit like a mix of the theme park sing-along songs and Mickey's Fun songs. It's a very strange piece though, as the premise is singer Sam E. Wright and Sebastian the Crab hosting a concert at Walt Disney World. Yes, you heard right, Sam E. Wright and Sebastian are both there. You know, the guy who voiced Sebastian? Most of the songs actually aren't sing-along, but the reason this is tied to the Disney sing-along songs at all is when they have Sebastian perform Under the Sea, all the footage for Under the Sea in the home release is sourced directly from Disney sing-along songs Under the Sea, using the exact same video, to the point that you can even hear Ludwig von Drake cheering "Bravo!" at the song's end. It is very easy to miss, as they abruptly fade out and pipe in crowd cheering, but it's there.
They also did other sing-along style videos such as The Songs of Playhouse Disney in 2005. This DVD plus CD was released in Britain, with variants for France and Spain. This was obviously aimed at a much younger audience in general than the normal sing-along songs, and thus was likely separated for simplicity. This also means this is more a compilation of songs with lyrics aimed at preschool children with barely any story. It opens with the song Come Into Playhouse Disney, sung by Big Dave and Little Alex, as the song was used to open Playhouse Disney channels in international regions during the 2000s. Interestingly, Playhouse Disney operated differently outside of the USA, with the main feature being everything taking place in a large, colourful house referenced to as the Playhouse, with everything happening with specific hosts, in this case Big Dave and Little Alex. The USA version was more of the voiceover of Alice Beasley guiding you through the shows, and sometimes their claymation mascot, Clay, talking about said shows. Both versions had the same premise in that they were television for young children, but they were executed differently from their audience and what would be consumed best. Come Into Playhouse Disney serves as a soft opening, telling you vaguely what to expect. Then we just get song after song after song. Songs from Bear in the Big Blue House, The Book of Pooh, JoJo's Circus, Roly Poly Oly, Higgledy Town Heroes, PJ's Bedtime, and then there are these segments.
Never smile at a crocodile.
No, not that one.
Oh, one sec.
Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-yay.
Zippity-doo-dah, we meet again. Even with the much later release date, clearly Playhouse Disney wasn't scared to shy away from this song, as it was still actively used for the Disney parks promotions and rides. Obviously from the presentation of it, you can see they are going with the much more "what a wonderful day" feeling for it, but now it's just unfortunate. There's also another unfortunate choice, but I don't want to go into that now. It closes with the song "See You Soon Inside Playhouse Disney," which again was the closing to all Playhouse Disney channels in international regions during the 2000s. The CD that came with it also included songs from other Disney shows, such as Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers and Jungle Cubs, but they were literally just full-length songs you could sing along to using the lyric book in the DVD case. So, is that it for the releases?
Not exactly. Disney popularised the sing-along tapes, so of course other companies wanted in on the action. But probably the funniest of them all is...
Come on along, we got some real fun just for you. We'll sing a song I know that you can sing it through. We'll do a dance that'll get you giggly. Kick out a two-step, let's get wiggly. I hear the clock go bing and bong. The time is right to sing a song, so join us in our Muppet Sing-Along.
Muppet Sing-Alongs from 1993 to 1996. Especially since Disney acquired the rights to the Muppets in 2004.
Sing along.
Muppet Sing-Alongs is what you'd expect. 4 tapes of sing-along songs with the Muppets. Billy Bunny's Animal Songs is the first one, and has the basic premise of Kermit the Frog narrating Billy Bunny's musical journey through the forest. Simple, but more like one of the Tales from Muppetland specials than an average sing-along. The next release was It's Not Easy Being Green, and features Kermit hosting a variety of songs. This one is considered to be the closest to a Disney sing-along songs tape, with many believing they should have all been like this. Next, we have an interesting case, as the next Muppet sing-alongs is technically Things That Fly, but it is a companion piece to a non-sing-along songs piece called Muppets on Wheels. Technically, Muppets on Wheels is part of the Jim Henson's preschool collection line, but the same characters are featured in both. Muppets on Wheels is about Kermit the Frog and a curious boy called Lindy exploring various vehicles, including a race car, tractor, roller coaster, bicycle, and trucks. It has songs with sing-along lyrics like its companion, but just weirdly isn't in the Muppets sing-alongs category. Its companion, Things That Fly, is about Kermit the Frog and Lindy exploring flying vehicles to help a lost alien, Norberta, return to her home planet. This inclusion of Lindy in both is the reason these are companion pieces. And finally, we have Muppet Treasure Island, which, unsurprisingly, is about Kermit and the pirates from Muppet Treasure Island, sharing a half hour of pirate songs. Yeah, it's that simple, though it does only feature 2 song clips from the actual movie, and instead has 7 new songs to enjoy.
So is that it?
Nope.
There is in fact another franchise that had a sing-along clone that is now owned by Disney, Anastasia. Anastasia's music box favourites, or should I say, Anastasia Sing-Along, as the VHS so proudly declared upon release, is a 1997 creation that was made to look like Disney sing-along songs, particularly the non-hosted versions from around 1996, such as Topsy Turvy. So what's on it? Obviously, we have Once Upon a December and Learn to Do It from Anastasia, but there are 7 other songs. Well, what they did was pad it out with some other random ones they owned, such as Life is a Magic Thing and Land of a Thousand Dances from Ferngully The Last Rainforest, and even He's Gone, He's Back from Once Upon a Forest. Then there are the other songs. Animal Crackers in My Soup from Curly Top, Polly Wolly Doodle from The Littlest Rebel, Puttin' on the Ritz from Young Frankenstein, and Popo the Puppet from On the Riviera.
What?
Fox did own all these too, but they seem a bit more varied and random than the fun animation songs they stuck in. Anyway, Disney owns 20th Century Fox now, so again, this is now technically owned by Disney. Welcome to the club, Anastasia!
That is actually it for technicalities now. But we do need to quickly discuss that these weren't the only sing-along songs copycats. Anastasia wasn't an isolated case. Universal Pictures did so with the Land Before Time sing-along songs in 1997 as well.
They were so proud of it, they even had an article in Billboard about it in the March 22nd, 1997 issue. The basic summary of the article is, Universal Studios Home Videos will release the Land Before Time sing-along songs on May 13th, featuring 10 songs from the franchise's 4 titles. Priced at $12.98, it builds on the series' success, which has sold over 20 million units and earned $376 million since 1988. The launch aligns with the theatrical release of The Lost World Jurassic Park and a $79.98 box set of the current 4 Land Before Time titles.
Yes, they were really trying to sell a box of 4 Land Before Time films for $80. But I digress. In 1997, they released the Land Before Time sing-along songs, which tried to tie the songs together with children talking about dinosaurs, as well as the Land Before Time. Neat!
Dinosaurs lived a long time ago. More than 65 million years ago.
We know about dinosaurs because scientists found their bones buried in rocks. There were lots of different kinds, like Littlefoot the Longneck.
And they didn't stop there. In 1999, Universal also released the Land Before Time More sing-along songs. Yes, they did a second one. This one is narrated by 2 random kids who just vaguely mention the Land Before Time dinosaurs, and then later Fievel and Friends for the section of songs about an American tale. Thankfully, even though the Land Before Time seems like one of those endless franchises, they only made the 2 sing-along songs. But that didn't stop other companies.
On top of Fox and Universal, there were others trying to get in on the sing-at-home concept Disney had introduced to the market. In 1989, Hanna-Barbera's Christmas Sing-Along came out, and was a Christmas-themed sing-along video featuring beloved characters like Fred Flintstone, Yogi Bear, and the Jetsons performing classic Christmas songs. This one is weird because Joe Barbera and Bill Hanna personally greet you.
Hi, you're just in time. You must be here for the Christmas party, and I'm glad you could make it. I'm Joe Barbera. And I'm Bill Hanna. and all of your Hanna-Barbera cartoon friends are joining us in a holiday celebration.
Other than that, it's a pretty standard collection of Hanna-Barbera cartoons to Christmas music. In 1998, there was also the Swan Princess sing-along, and much like the second Land Before Time sing-along, it is just vaguely tied together with characters talking randomly. This one is interesting for being the only copycat so far we've found to make up a theme song like Disney's did. All the songs are from the first 3 Swan Princess movies.
There was also Sing Along with Thomas, released in the UK in 2000, featuring 1 3rd series song, all 4th series songs, and 8 5th series songs. It even includes a little puff of smoke as a bouncing ball. This is basically just all the songs with sing-along lyrics. There's no connection or narrator, just the songs. But Thomas the Tank Engine didn't even stop there. Choo-choo! Over in Asia, there were several Thomas-themed sing-alongs. Look at all these wonderful sing-alongs!
Why are there so many?
I'd love to tell you, but it would derail our current content.
Are there any more?
Oh, there definitely are. Like Alvin and the Chipmunks sing-alongs, Ragtime Cowboy Joe, Kid Songs Country sing-along, the Rudolph Frosty and Friends sing-along, any of the MGM sing-alongs tapes, the Good Times Entertainment Kid Tunes sing-along songs Jingle Bells, and many more.
What?
Yeah, let's just stop there.
Video games is a bit of a barren section, honestly. I guess on principle we can mention Disney Sing It, as it's a karaoke video game based on Disney songs that you play at home, but that's about it. Outside of that, there is also SingStar Sing Along with Disney, which again is a Disney karaoke game. Sadly, outside of just karaoke games, there simply isn't any crossover with video games. Professor Owl makes no appearances in Kingdom Hearts, Dreamlight Valley, or any other major Disney game, not even as a sticker or badge or something. Meanwhile, Ludwig von Drake has made appearances in a handful of games, but that is not to do with his hosting of sing-along songs. That is more because he is a more major Disney character than Professor Owl. I mean, what does this have to do with sing-along songs?
Sing this, and you win this hole. Excellent! That's par! Ooh, I won! You win! Great game!
That was originally it for video games, but since our live panel at MinamiCon, a personal friend of ours, the Dupus, a Kingdom Hearts lorekeeper, came forward and reminded us about Sebastian in Kingdom Hearts 2. Sebastian does indeed appear in Kingdom Hearts 2, but what is interesting is he guides the player into a rhythm challenge in which Sora, Donald and Goofy dance with Ariel. This is likely reminiscent of the popularity of rhythm games such as Dance Dance Revolution, but an interesting point is the Disney sing-along songs dance-alongs that were introduced in the Sebastian era of sing-along songs. The Brother Bear On My Way tape included 3 dance-alongs. Why is this important? Well, it came out in 2003, while the Atlantica levels of Kingdom Hearts 2 debuted in 2005. The later rhythm games feature Sebastian at his conductor podium, again, a possible fun nod to the more recent sing-along songs of the time. And the song appeared at the bottom of the screen as you played, so in theory, you could sing along. As for hosts of sing-along songs in video games related to sing-along songs, Sebastian can be acknowledged since his entry in Kingdom Hearts 2 may refer to sing-along songs as a whole. However, there is little information about later Japanese releases of sing-along songs, so any link would be strictly a reference to the American releases. Unlike our last deep dive where we found Lilo and Stitch never appeared in House of Mouse, this time Professor Owl actually has. In fact, he's so definitely there that he is even seen flying in the opening. Cool! He also appears in 2 episodes, Where's Minnie and the very apt due to being one of his co-hosts, Ask Von Drake. In Where's Minnie, Professor Owl is seen on a table with other iconic Disney owls, including Owl from Winnie the Pooh, Archimedes from Sword in the Stone, and the Owl from Sleeping Beauty. This is all for this joke.
Hey, who turned out the lights?
Meanwhile, in Ask Von Drake, Professor Owl is still seen at the owl table with Owl and Archimedes, clearly Sleeping Beauty. Owl wasn't available for this one. This time they are only there for this joke.
Today's show is going to be a real hoot. We'll be the judge of that.
And that's it for Professor Owl's main appearances in House of Mouse. House of Mouse may be Professor Owl's only appearance outside of his own shorts and sing-along songs, but a more recent show included a fun reference to him. Legend of the Three Caballeros, which came out in 2018, included a character called Merlin the Owl. This character is interesting as he references not only Merlin, but also his pet owl Archimedes and of course, Professor Owl. The design is literally a visual reference to the Free and is even openly mentioned as such by director Matt Danner. Not only has he referenced it on social media, but a panel hosted at D23 had lead story editor Christopher Painter talk about the inspiration behind Merlin the Owl.
Merlin the Owl, and his design is based on both Archimedes from The Sword in the Stone, which you can see in that top picture with the regular Merlin, human Merlin, as well as Professor Owl from the short Toot Whistle Plunk and Boom.
So now we can talk about books. Like there were ever any books for this.
Well, actually...
No!
Yes, there was in fact a Disney sing-along song book. It was first published in 1995 and contained a selection of sheet music from Disney movies throughout the years, starting with Love is a Song from Bambi in 1942, through to Colours of the Wind and Just Around the River Bend from the Walt Disney Company's most recent release at the time, Pocahontas in 1995. It was reprinted in 1997 to include a few new songs from more recent movies, such as Hercules, Toy Story, and The Hunchback of Notre Dame. There was an introduction written by the Disney artist Russell Schroeder, who specialised in marketing character art for Disney books, and had description text for each song included by Jim Fanning, a writer who specialises in Disney history. The book itself is an interesting mix of songs from popular well-known Disney animated movies, lesser-known older shorts and animated films, live-action films with animated segments, live-action movies, TV shows, and even 2 songs from the 1964 New York World's Fair. Specifically, It's a Small World, and There's a Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow, better known as the songs from the theme park rides It's a Small World and Carousel of Progress. Although every movie containing songs with lyrics created between 1942 to 1997 is not featured, the variety found in this book, coupled with the in-depth descriptions for each source chosen, make this book as much a lesson in Disney song history as it is a book in sheet music. There were 43 songs in the 1995 version of the book, and 48 songs total in the 1997 re-release. Almost all of them appear in at least one of the Disney Sing-Along Songs videos that were out at the time of the book's publication, except for 12 songs, or 10 if you don't include ones that were not in the Sing-Along Songs video for the 1995 original book release, but did end up in videos by the time the 1997 version of the book came out. These songs were Love is a Song from Bambi, Lazy Countryside from Fun and Fancy Free, Lavender Blue Dilly Dilly from So Dear to My Heart, I'm Late from Alice in Wonderland, Your Mother and Mine from Peter Pan, Annette from the Mickey Mouse Club, There's a Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow from the New York World's Fair and Carousel of Progress ride, Chim Chim Cheree from Mary Poppins, Gaston from Beauty and the Beast, and Arabian Nights from Aladdin. A Dream is a Wish Your Heart Makes from Cinderella and Once Upon a Dream from Sleeping Beauty were not originally in any videos for the 1995 release of the book, but were present in the Sing-Along Songs VHS releases by the time the 1997 version of the book was published. These were likely included to introduce children who watched the Sing-Along Songs videos to a variety of other musical pieces they had not yet encountered on the videos alone. But it is still interesting that these were chosen when other well-known, popular and historically important Disney songs, quite heavily featured in the Sing-Along Songs franchise, such as Hi-Ho from Snow White, which even had a VHS tape named after it, were missed out.
So that is the only book release there was, right?
Wrong. If we travel back in time to 1987, there was a series of books with cassette tapes that had the same name as the 1995 and 1997 releases, Disney Sing-Along Songbook. There were 8 of these in total published by Disneyland Records. The first 4 of these were simply named Disney Sing-Along Songbook, but had different colour covers, different cover art, and different songs in them. And surprisingly, these weren't Disney songs, but rather a selection of nursery rhymes, popular children's songs, and folk songs with accompanying pictures of Disney characters that fit the theme and vibe of the musical pieces. The second 2 books in this series, also published in 1987, were Christmas songs. And again, these books did not contain any Disney songs, but rather well-known, popular and traditional seasonal songs for the holidays. The 7th and 8th books in this series, published in 1988, changed up the formula a bit. Titled Best of Disney Sing-Along Songbook, these books contain popular songs from Disney movies, both animated and live action, Disney TV shows and the theme parks. These final 2 books in the series appear to be the spiritual predecessors of the previously mentioned 1995 Disney Sing-Along Songbook, as not only do they share a name, but they were also very similar in format to those books, with both having sheet music with lyrics, although there was no in-depth description of the song and its history in these earlier books.
And there's more! Multiple Disney interactive player songbooks have also been published under the name Disney Singalong Songs. The first release was by Phoenix International Publications Inc. under the PI Kids Publications name in 2000, and was simply named Winnie the Pooh Singalong Songs. This book came with a little microphone to sing into, and 10 buttons, each of which plays a small introduction by a Winnie the Pooh character followed by a song tune you can sing along to. These are all various nursery rhymes and popular traditional children's songs such as When You're Happy and You Know It and Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, some of which have custom Winnie the Pooh lyrics. For example, Mary Had a Little Lamb being retitled Pooh Bear Had a Little Friend, and being about Piglet. A later 2012 publication by the same company called Mickey Mouse Clubhouse Sing-Along Songs was a similar concept, but the book did not have buttons or batteries of its own, and everything electronic was contained inside the microphone, which lit up when used. The 4 sound buttons on it did not have images of characters on them, as is generally typical for player sound books, and instead were color-coded, with characters in the book informing those reading of which color to choose at what time. There were also several interactive player songbooks published between 2009 and 2012 by the PI Kids Publications Company with the name Sing-Along Songs in their titles. Each of these books has 5 buttons that play 2 songs when pressed, with the book's contents containing the lyrics for all 10 songs played by the buttons. There are illustrated icons found throughout the text that match the pictures found on the buttons to show children what button to press and when. This series included the Magic Mirror songbook title, Mickey Mouse Clubhouse Sing-Along Songs, published in 2010, and had little light-up images of Mickey, Minnie, Goofy and Daisy in a small mirror that lights up as the music is played. There was also the Holiday Player Song series, with Disney Princess Sing-Along Christmas Songs in 2009, Disney Bunnies Sing-Along Songs in 2010, Mickey Mouse Clubhouse Sing-Along Christmas Songs in 2010, and Winnie the Pooh Sunny Sing-Along Songs in 2012. These again mainly contain popular and well-known non-Disney song tunes with custom lyrics. Later, in 2014, the Pie Kids company released the Disney Frozen Sing-Along Songs piano book, a slightly different type of sound book that has an attached mini keyboard underneath the song buttons. When you press the button for the song you want to play, the notes you need to press on the keyboard light up in time to the music so you can play along. The songs contained within are a mix of Frozen movie songs and various reimaginings of other well-known non-Disney songs. This book appears to have 2 different covers, one for the original Frozen movie and a new cover for the re-release of the book for Frozen 2, but the songs and contents of the book are the same, although they are differently ordered in the second edition. There are many more Disney books of this type out there, but none of the others specifically use the Sing-Along Songs title, so we will not be mentioning them here.
And to finish off the books section, we have one more honourable mention. Although they are not specifically Disney Sing-Along Songs branded, there have also been a wide range of Disney Sing-Along publications. These have been numerous and varied over the years, including more player songbooks and book and CD, or book and cassette ones as well, with contents ranging from collections of well-known Disney classics, Disney Junior songs, Disney princesses, Winnie the Pooh, seasonal song selections, modern popular movies such as Frozen, and more. Some of these titles are full-size books with a CD or cassette, and some are CDs with the lyric book basically being the CD insert, but all are under the Sing-Along name. I won't linger on these too much, as there are so many of them, and they are not technically Disney Sing-Along Songs branded specifically, but they are an interesting offshoot in the world of Disney Sing-Alongs that can still be found around to this day.
Moving on from books, we have something tangentially related to them, albums that include a storybook. In 1961, Disneyland Records released Walt Disney Presents a Child's Primer, Music, How It's Made and Played, which was a record that combined elements of both melody and toot, whistle, plunk and boom to guide listeners through the basics of melody and orchestral instruments. The album came as expected, with a 2-sided vinyl record and a book that contained pictures of the 2 animations it was based on. These were clearly aimed to be used as educational tools, introducing children to music concepts through engaging storytelling and songs. There was a reissue with a new name, A Child's Introduction to Melody, but very little was changed, only the name and cover. In fact, the 1962 cover trades the cartoonish charm of the 1961 edition for a more educational aesthetic. The new title and the instrument design on the front cover suggests there was a possible attempt to emulate Golden Record's renowned and long-time bestseller A Child's Introduction to the Orchestra from the A Child's Introduction line of LPs. That leads us on to our next and possibly more interesting record with Storybook. Walt Disney's Adventures in Melody by RCA Victor Records, part of the Little Nipper Storybook album series. This one is interesting because all of the art is based on the revised storyboards we talked about earlier, where Professor Owl has become brown and Bertie Birdbrain was more rounded and oafish. As it came out a year before the two animations were even released, it stands to reason that they were provided with the current concept of the animation and just rolled with that. Little Golden Records also released two Adventures in Music shorts on vinyl in 1953. Both are only a few minutes long but are reminiscent of the shorts. Side B of Toot Whistle Plunk and Boom even has an instrumental version. If anyone was wondering, Side B of Melody has funny variations of The Bird and the Cricket and the Willow Tree to match the styles the short presented, such as a Western-esque one. What I personally find interesting is the Adventures in Music Melody record has a concept art style Professor Owl, Bertie Birdbrain and the Canary Sisters, but this time actually towards the final animation style.
And now onto the Disney theme parks. There have been quite a few sing-along shows and events at the Disney parks and resorts over the years, and many, many more that have had audience participation in the form of encouraging guests to sing. We will not be covering everything that has existed in the parks where guests can choose to sing along, as there'd simply be too many events, shows and parades that encourage singing to be able to cover everything. Meaning that parades such as the 2019 Move It, Shake It, Mouse Ka Dance It street party at Magic Kingdom, which advertises that guests can sing along with the music, and any live events such as character dance parties where singing is encouraged by DJs, but is not an essential part of the show in any way, will not be covered. And we will instead be focusing on those where singing along is a core component, particularly when there are lyrics displayed on a screen or another surface for the audience to follow. We'll start with live entertainment in the parks. The first on this list, and one of the most well known, is For the First Time in Forever, a Frozen sing-along celebration. This show first opened in June 2014 at the Premier Theatre in the Streets of America section of Walt Disney World's Hollywood Studios in Florida, during the 2014 Summer Fun event. It remained there until June 2015, when it relocated to the Hyperion Theatre in Echo Lake at the same park. Although it closed in July 2020, it later reopened in October 2020 and is still running to this day. The show itself is 25 minutes long, and guests are guided through the events of the movie by the Royal Historians of Arendelle, Eric and Aria, who retell the story, complete with the songs with their visuals and lyrics displayed on screen. These characters, alongside the various characters from the Frozen movie, encourage everyone to sing along with their favourite songs from the franchise, starting with Do You Want to Build a Snowman?, then For the First Time in Forever, Love is an Open Door, Let It Go, and finally, In Summer. Anna, Elsa and Kristoff have all made appearances in this show since it first began in 2014, with Olaf joining them on stage for a special finale as part of the Hollywood Studios Christmas festivities from 2017 onwards. This holiday special features the three songs Ring in the Season, That Time of Year, and When We're Together from the Olaf's Frozen Adventure short, and has returned every year in November when the park's holiday season begins, with an Olaf's Frozen Adventure sign placed above the show times on the sing-along entrance archway to indicate when this special version of the show is operating. It is also worthy of note that, as in the case with many Disney park shows, there are special show times when there are ASL interpreters present, allowing a much wider audience of people to enjoy the show.
The popularity of this show, and of the Frozen franchise in general, meant that The First Time in Forever, a Frozen sing-along celebration, also ran at the Disney California Adventure Park from January 2015 in the Crown Jewel Theatre, formerly the Muppet Vision 3D Theatre, as part of the park's Frozen Fun event, featuring the same songs in the same order as the original Walt Disney World show. This event officially ended in May 2015, but the venue kept the show until April 2016, when the show actually ended. The theatre was later renamed again to the Sunset Showcase Theatre and became the home of Mickey's PhilharMagic 4D film. Disneyland Paris also got the show under the name Chantons la Reine de Neige from June to September 2015 as part of the Frozen Summer Fun event on the stage in the Chaparral Theatre in Frontierland. It returned at the end of November that year as part of the Disney's Enchanted Christmas event and ended in January 2016.
Interestingly enough, this was the first version of the show where Olaf makes a physical appearance, with his presence on stage predating the holiday sing-along specials at Walt Disney World. He appears in the main show itself and not a special seasonal finale section, and the song order has actually been moved around a little to accommodate his introduction, giving it a very similar, but not identical, song order to the Walt Disney World version. The first two songs, For the First Time in Forever and Do You Want to Build a Snowman, are switched, and For the First Time in Forever does not show any lyrics on screen and is instead used as a musical introduction to the show. However, every other song featured does still use the standard sing-along format. In Summer has also been moved to the third slot, allowing Olaf to enter at the end of Do You Want to Build a Snowman to introduce his own song. It then features Love is an Open Door and Let It Go to finish off the show.
Hong Kong Disneyland also had its own version of the show, called Frozen Festival Show, which took place in the flexible event venue stage space known as The Pavilion, located between Adventureland and Grizzly Gulch, and ran from June 2015 to October 2015. This version is kind of an intermediate between the Walt Disney World and Disneyland Paris version of the show, with For the First Time in Forever leading and the only song without words on screen, followed by Do You Want to Build a Snowman, the order of the Paris version, then every other song in the same order as the original Hollywood Studios show, so Love is an Open Door, Let It Go, and finally In Summer. This show has Anna, Elsa, and Kristoff on stage, but not Olaf, which is probably why In Summer was not moved in the running order. The Shanghai Disneyland version, Frozen: A Sing-Along Celebration, opened with the park in June 2016 and is located in the Evergreen Playhouse in Fantasyland. It is still running to this day and even had a few songs from Frozen 2 added to it in November 2019, making it currently the only version of the show to contain anything from the sequel. Initially when it opened, the show used the exact same running order of songs as the Paris show, with Anna singing the lyricless rendition of For the First Time in Forever to open, then moving on to Do You Want to Build a Snowman, In Summer, Love is an Open Door, and finally Let It Go, all of which displayed lyrics on screen for the audience to sing along to. However, this all changed in 2019, and the show in its updated form currently features the songs Do You Want to Build a Snowman and In Summer from the original Frozen movie, Some Things Never Change from Frozen 2, and then two Elsa smash hits back to back with Let It Go from Frozen leading straight into the Unknown from Frozen 2. This is followed by a brief reprise of Let It Go to round off the show.
Also notable is this show has its own special appearance of Olaf, who Kristoff initially brings in on a sled of ice blocks after Do You Want to Build a Snowman song, so he can introduce In Summer. He then appears at select points throughout the show after that. Olaf has been present in this show since it opened in 2016, meaning this is the second time he is part of a Frozen sing-along, with the premiere of this show happening before the Hollywood Studios holiday special first occurred in the winter of 2017, but after his appearance in Paris in 2015. Tokyo Disneyland has not yet had its own version of this show. Following on from this, in both 2023 and 2024, the location of the Frozen sing-along celebration, the Hyperion Theatre in Walt Disney World's Hollywood Studios, was temporarily rethemed to host a new show for Disney Jollywood Nights, a special 5-hour ticketed event that ran on select nights between mid-November and late December. This show was called What's This? Nightmare Before Christmas Sing-Along, where guests joined Jack Skellington for what Disney described as a dreamlike adventure inspired by Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas. The show is very much a retelling of the story of The Nightmare Before Christmas, complete with sing-along lyrics on screen for the songs, although they are in a slightly different order to the movie. Jack introduces the show itself. We then follow the two silent, unnamed human characters to experience the Nightmare Before Christmas story from their living room via a series of magical items they find. First is a magic snow globe they find in a wrapped gift inside their old fireplace, which shows them the song What's This? Next, a glowing crate containing several items and masks owned by Lock, Shock and Barrel triggers Kidnap the Sandy Claus to play. A gramophone under an old curtain starts Sally's song. A burlap sack with a Santa hat and bugs inside starts the Oogie Boogie song, complete with the character himself joining the humans on stage. And once Oogie Boogie is gone, the movie's finale reprise song ends the musical segment of the show, with Jack Skellington himself then giving an ending speech to round it all off.
Another show that was done in a similar style to For the First Time in Forever, a Frozen sing-along celebration, was Celebración Encanto, a musical show based on Disney's 2021 animated film Encanto. This is a special sing-along dance party that took place at the Walt Disney World Epcot Park in Florida from June to September 2024 on the Communicore Plaza stage, located in the World Celebration area. One of the first two shows to ever utilize this at the time newly opened space alongside the La Calle live band, which played in the evening after the show had finished for the day. The biggest differences between this show, The Frozen, and the Nightmare Before Christmas sing-alongs was that it took place in an outdoor venue with no seating, and guests were encouraged to dance as well as sing to the featured songs. The Family Madrigal, We Don't Talk About Bruno, What Else Can I Do, Surface Pressure, and Colombia Mi Encanto, all of which have lyrics displayed on screen in the classic Disney sing-along style. The hosts also asked various Encantrivia questions related to either Colombia or the Encanto movie that were displayed on the screen, interspersed with the sing-along song videos. Mirabel and Bruno both made an appearance and hosted a 10-minute dance party for younger guests after the main show. However, this was a fully outdoor venue, with no shelter for the audience. So, what happened when the weather was not suitable for an outside event? Luckily, Disney had this covered, with a rainy day version of the show run inside the Communicore Hall on bad weather days, so guests didn't have to miss out on the show or get super wet if it was raining outside on the day of their visit. And there was another Encanto show to include a sing-along segment too, one that predates the Celebración Encanto show at Epcot. The Disney Cruise Line immersive experience and Encanto celebration on the Disney Magic ship started in May 2023 and is still running as of 2025. It features meet and greets with Mirabel and Bruno, arts and crafts sessions where guests can create flowers and butterflies, food and drinks inspired by Colombia and the world of Encanto, and most importantly, a sing-along of some of the most popular Encanto songs. The sing-along songs are shown on small TV screens scattered throughout the room, so guests sitting at tables and children who go to the front to participate can all see the lyrics. It is similar to the Epcot show, with trivia questions included between the songs, but only features the three songs, The Family Madrigal, We Don't Talk About Bruno, and Surface Pressure as sing-alongs. It does, however, provide musical instruments in the first song to add an extra element of interactivity, and guests can meet Mirabel and Bruno after the show when they come out during a final dance to the Colombia Mi Encanto song.
Another dance party containing sing-along elements can also be found on the Disney Cruise Line ship, the Disney Dream. Mickey's Colour Spin Dance Party is a prismatic pop dance party that is taking place on the Funnel Vision stage, on the pool deck of the ship that started in July 2023, and as of March 2025, is still ongoing. The show starts with a sing-along pre-show of Into the Unknown, complete with lyrics on screen. The rest of the show is more dance-orientated, with each character present, Mickey, Minnie, Donald, Daisy, Goofy, Max, Chip and Dale, teaching the audience a short dance routine to remixes of Disney songs when their colour is chosen by the wheel, with no more specific sing-along elements and no more lyrics shown on screen. But its pre-show segment earns it a place on this list.
A few other live dance parties at various Disney parks have been referred to as sing-alongs by Disney, and have the DJ hosts encourage singing alongside dancing, such as the Disney Junior Dance Party and Disney Junior Play and Dance shows, both found at Disney's Hollywood Studios from May 2017 to March 2020 and July 2020 to the time this video was made, respectively. However, as no lyrics are ever displayed on screen for these shows, and the focus is generally more on moving along and dancing with the characters on stage rather than singing, they are not really related to the Disney Sing-Along Songs franchise, and are instead their own thing, so I will not be covering them here. That said, Disney California Adventure did host a sing-along event for Disney Junior during its one-day Disney Junior Fun Fest event on April 29, 2022. One of the events on the stage during the event was called Disney Junior Live Sing-Along, and hosted a variety of Disney Junior characters singing on stage, some of which had lyrics on screen for the children watching to follow and sing along to. So even though the event was only held once, unlike the other Disney Junior shows, which only encouraged singing without lyrics, this one was a true sing-along with a bouncing ball.
But going back to the topic of sing-along pre-shows, Disney on Ice presents Let's Dance had a festive pre-show sing-along for the holiday season in 2024. Hosted by Donald and Goofy, featuring a medley of seasonal songs called Goofy's Ho Ho Holiday Sing-Along. This is very much in the sing-along song format, with the lyrics of each of the songs displayed above the stage on a giant LED screen, meaning Disney on Ice can also join the list of Disney attractions that are part of the Singalong Songs universe. The parks have also had multiple other sing-alongs that do not display lyrics for the audience but still aim for audience participation. Again, these are not true Disney sing-along songs as they do not have words to follow with a bouncing ball, so I'll not be lingering on these too much. But there is one that needs mentioning due to having a very special connection to the franchise. Chip and Dale's Campfire Sing-Along, a nightly live event that takes place at the campsites at Disney's Fort Wilderness Resort, is a show coupled with campfire s'more roasting and a special Disney movie showing afterwards. It has been around since the early 70s, possibly around for the opening of the resort in 1971, and certainly present in the years that followed, with the earliest references to the event being an article from the 1973 issue of the Walt Disney World Vacationland magazine, which Imagine Nerding found and shared on their YouTube channel. We also found additional images and references to it in Fort Wilderness brochures published throughout the 70s. It was originally part of the Fort Wilderness Campfire Programme evening events, eventually getting its own special event name, Chip and Dale's Campfire Sing-Along, in the early 2000s, and is still running under this name to this day. In this show, the cowboy host plays a selection of non-Disney campfire classic and folk songs on guitar that vary each night as they are sung live. This can include songs such as You Are My Sunshine, King of the Road, Ghost Riders in the Sky, Where You're From, She'll Be Coming Round the Mountain, If You're Happy and You Know It, Sweet Home Alabama, I've Been Working on the Railroad, Old MacDonald Had a Farm, Cool Water, and more. And the show generally ends with Happy Birthday if anyone is celebrating that day. Notably, Disney songs used to be played at this event as well. Songs like Zippity-Doo-Dah, Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, and the Mickey Mouse March were confirmed to be in the show in 1992, in this specific old video by Leah Handler on YouTube, but do not appear to be present in the show that often anymore, with the country and folk songs very much taking centre stage. Guests are encouraged to clap and sing along throughout the performance, with the songs interspersed with the host telling the audience various jokes and Disney facts, and Chip and Dale playing charades. At the end, Chip and Dale dance with guests while the host plays a selection of party songs, such as the Hokey Pokey. Overall, it is a lovely little hidden gem at one of the Disney World resorts that has a sing-along component to it. But how does it specifically connect to the Disney Sing-Along Songs franchise? Well, earlier in the video we mentioned the Camp Out at Walt Disney World Mickey's Fun Songs video released in 1994 that was later re-released under the Sing-Along Songs banner in 1996. It is set in the Fort Wilderness campground. Chip and Dale are present at multiple points in this video, most notably near the end, when Mickey and friends gather around the campfire to make s'mores, just like guests can do at the Chip and Dale Campfire Sing-Along event, which also takes place at Fort Wilderness, albeit at a different location within the resort. And Chip and Dale enter when they're finished to join in the song number that follows. Perhaps this is coincidental, but with this video being filmed and made after the Chip and Dale event was already very well established at the resort, and with these specific videos being made with the intention of promoting things currently available at the parks at the time, it is very probable that it was referencing this live event specifically. The choice made to have Camp Out at Walt Disney World use primarily country and folk songs, and having Chip and Dale turn up at Fort Wilderness after the rest of the gang arrives, which heavily implies they're already hanging out at that resort, alongside the previously mentioned s'mores scene, could all be subtle nods at the existence of this show at the venue. If this is the case, it would not only make Chip and Dale's Campfire Sing-Along one of the earliest parts of the Disney Sing-Along Songs franchise as a whole, but also one you can still go and experience in person to this day.
Before we move on, there are two honourable mentions we want to bring up in the live entertainment section, both of which are not sing-along songs by the definition we set above, i.e. they are not in the Disney Sing-Along Songs format, as no lyrics are displayed on a screen or onto any surface for the audience to read, follow and sing along to, but both have interactive sing-along elements to them and are important to mention when covering the subject of the history of sing-alongs found at the Disney theme parks. The first is a selection of live entertainment pieces from two venues in two different Disney theme parks that have occasionally contained live sing-along segments, albeit ones without followable words provided for the audience. The audience could sing along with Wild West-themed host characters at the Golden Horseshoe restaurant at Disneyland, California that opened in July 1955, and the Diamond Horseshoe restaurant at Walt Disney World that opened with the park in 1971. Sometimes singing along was a smaller part of the show, and sometimes the live entertainment pieces had a much larger focus on singing along to promote audience interactivity. Both venues are sadly currently not hosting live shows regularly anymore, with the Diamond Horseshoe at Walt Disney World not having run live shows regularly since October 2004, with the one exception being a special seasonal Happy Haunted Horseshoe revival show performed as a limited-time magic event in 2013, and the Golden Horseshoe in California more recently ending its 30-minute live piano show in May 2024. Both are at this time only used as quick-service food locations, with the Disney World venue currently having a player piano but no live entertainment, and the California venue occasionally using their stage for museum-style exhibits without performers, such as the Celebrate Soulfully display for Black Music Month in June 2024. Although live entertainment could return to either venue at any time, we will not be discussing or listing all the different Golden and Diamond Horseshoe shows that have run between these venues over the years, as most of them contain no sing-along elements, so are not really relevant. What is important is that when these shows did include sing-alongs, it was often in the form of a cast member playing live music while encouraging guests to join in, interspersing these sing-along songs with various jokes and other forms of audience interaction. Disney World's Diamond Horseshoe sing-alongs were normally performed by a guitar-playing cast member and generally featured a selection of country folk songs very similar to the Chip 'n Dale's Campfire sing-along show, meaning some of these guitar-playing cast members may even have performed in both shows at the time. The Diamond Horseshoe Wild West Christmas show that ran at various Mickey's Very Merry Christmas parties in the 2000s, that opened with a sing-along of Ghost Riders in the Sky, followed by a selection of seasonal sing-along Christmas songs, is a very good example of this. The Golden Horseshoe in California more often had a live piano player, with the 30-minute long shows that ran from 2021 to 2024 being the best example of this, with the show including sing-alongs of both folk songs and popular Disney songs. Tokyo Disneyland also has its own version of the Diamond Horseshoe venue, as well as its shows, and has been open since 1983. Since then, it has also had multiple new and varied stage shows for the venue. However, sing-alongs have not really been a major feature of the shows here, so we can move on to our next honourable mention.
Which is another show that takes place at the parks with a sing-along component but no on-screen lyrics. It is the Festival of the Lion King, a live stage musical show featuring elaborate costumes, set pieces and animatronics, inspired by the original Broadway musical production of The Lion King, alongside circus acts such as acrobatics, stilt walkers, fire juggling and tumbling. It has run at Disney's Animal Kingdom at the Walt Disney World Resort since 1998. Originally located in a special theatre in the Camp Mini Mickey section of the park, and later relocating to a new custom-built theatre named the Harambee Theatre in the Africa section of the park in 2014, when Camp Mini Mickey closed to make way for the Pandora World of Avatar area. It was briefly replaced with an abridged version of itself titled A Celebration of the Festival of the Lion King in May 2021, that contained less audience interactivity, shorter dialogue between the songs, and some of the more elaborate performance elements removed, such as the tumbling monkeys in the Hakuna Matata section, and aerial dance routine in Can You Feel the Love Tonight. But this only ran until early July 2022, with a revamped version of the original show returning later that month as part of Walt Disney World's 50th anniversary celebrations. In this show, the four singing hosts introduce us to King Simba, Timon, Pumbaa and the animals of the Pride Lands, who are celebrating a special event and invite the audience to join. Although it does not tell the story of the Lion King movie specifically, it does feature many of the songs from the original film, which are used in each performance. What is relevant to our topic is that both of the versions of this show have sections where Timon encourages the audience to sing along with him to Hakuna Matata, once during the show and another at the end, and a point where Simba and the hosts encourage everyone to join in singing and clapping along to The Lion Sleeps Tonight. It is interesting to note that the Hong Kong Disneyland version of this show, which has been running since 2005 in the Theatre in the Wild in Adventureland and shares the name The Festival of the Lion King, is in fact quite different to the Walt Disney World version. Instead of being a revue-style show that uses songs from The Lion King, it is instead a retelling of the movie's story by a group of actors, led by Rafiki, who are performing a play for Simba. And in contrast to the Walt Disney World show, audience participation is not really encouraged throughout most of this version. This means that there are no Hakuna Matata or The Lion Sleeps Tonight sing-alongs in this one. And although Simba does invite everyone to all join in the celebration near the end, this appears to be aimed more at the actors, and the audience are not really encouraged to participate at all during this section. So unlike its American counterpart, the Hong Kong show is not part of the Disney Singalong universe.
This year, there is even going to be a special sing-along experience at Disney's Animal Kingdom for Cool Kids Summer. From May 27th to September 1st, 2025, there will be a celebration sing-along at Discovery Island with the Dino Institute Intern, a live improv musician who debuted at Restaurantosaurus in 2024, where guests will be able to help create one-of-a-kind songs highlighting all the creatures, real and mythical, spotted around the park. And we're all done with the live shows, but there's still more. There is also a movie-style sing-along show in the parks found at Walt Disney World in Florida. The Beauty and the Beast sing-along debuted at the Palais du Cinéma Theatre in the France Pavilion at Epcot on January 17, 2020. It shares the theatre with this location's original movie, Impressions de France, with the Beauty and the Beast sing-along generally available throughout the day and Impressions de France in the evenings. This movie is an abridged version of the original 1991 animated film directed and produced by Don Hahn, the producer of the animated and live-action Beauty and the Beast films. It is narrated by the character Mrs. Potts and is basically a retelling of the events in the original movie, one where LeFou is, in fact, the driving force in helping to bring Belle and the Beast together, showing us that he was apparently always just off-screen helping out in all major scenes of the original movie. In this version of events, LeFou has had enough after Gaston takes his anger out on him after his failed marriage proposal to Belle and deliberately throws him into a muddy lake. For some reason or another, he decides to make things up to Belle by luring her to the old abandoned castle in the woods, using her father Maurice as bait. From here, the show is mainly just a summary of the movie with the songs Belle, Be Our Guest, Gaston, Something There, Beauty and the Beast, and Beauty and the Beast finale presented in sing-along format, with LeFou shown constantly getting involved behind the scenes, showing him sneaking into the Beast's kitchen to help cook the food for Belle in Be Our Guest, using the Gaston song as a way of distracting him and trying to get him to forget about Belle, being responsible for various events that bring Belle and the Beast closer during Something There, and even making Belle's yellow ball gown. The film ends by showing the audience a stained glass window featuring LeFou, cementing him as the story's hero. And we have one more event to cover, one that took place on a much larger scale. There was a global sing-along event for the 50th anniversary of the original It's a Small World attraction in 2014. Special in-person sing-alongs were held at Disneyland Resort in California, Walt Disney World Resort in Florida, Tokyo Disney Resort in Japan, Disneyland Paris in France, and the Hong Kong Disneyland Resort, with both children and cast members taking part. Clips of this, alongside footage taken in Times Square in New York by the news team and multiple videos of other people singing the song from around the world, were aired on Good Morning America on April 10, 2014, with some of the dolls from the ride even being shipped to Times Square to join in the festivities. In the run-up to the event, web designer Laura Cortez created an interactive site called smallworld50.com for Disney. On this site, people could submit online videos of themselves singing the song chorus and create virtual It's a Small World dolls to share with their friends. In honor of the global event, the Walt Disney Company donated $150,000 to benefit UNICEF, aka United Nations Children's Funds, the charity the original ride was built to support in 1964, and offered to donate $1 for every sing-along video recorded and uploaded, and another $1 for every virtual doll created on the website, up to a maximum of $100,000. Considering that UNICEF's annual report for 2014 mentions that Disney donated more than $3.4 million that year from this event and various other charitable ventures, it is very likely that they got enough website interaction to donate the maximum amount.
And now for the main host of the franchise, Professor Owl himself. Although he has never made meet and greet appearances, Professor Owl was featured alongside some of his bird students, specifically the Three Canary Sisters, on Mickey and Minnie's float in the opening unit of Mickey's Sensational Parade. This parade celebrated songs from various Disney films and media, and originally ran from May 2011 to November 2017, later making a return from January to July 2019, with the Professor Owl float present in both versions. Professor Owl could only be seen on the left-hand side of the float, but the Three Canary Sisters were present on both sides. A second float featuring Professor Owl and some of his students, this time 3 unnamed birds, was featured in the Tokyo Disneyland Happiness is Here parade that ran from April 2013 to April 2018. He was part of the opening unit of this parade on a Casey Jr. inspired train-shaped float featuring Dumbo and the meet and greet characters Pinocchio, Sleepy and Grumpy. He was found in the driver's compartment of the train, with his students located on the sides of the train positioned in front of him. And what about the other hosts of the franchise? Well, if we were to look at the in-park appearances of every single character that hosted or co-hosted at any point in the original Singalong Songs videos, it'd simply take way too long. Although some characters, like Ludwig von Drake, are not super prevalent in the parks, others, like Jiminy Cricket, have had a fairly major presence in them. Not to mention there is quite an extensive list of host and co-host characters from throughout the franchise's history we would have to cover, with Ludwig von Drake, Jiminy Cricket, Sebastian, Flik, Tigger, Gopher, Pongo Perdita and their puppies, Rut and Took, Maggie the Cow, and the Magic Mirror, and possibly even Mickey and Friends if you count them as the hosts or co-hosts of the 12 Days of Christmas and Mickey's Fun Songs, all being part of this list. We would mention Disney Singalong Song specific appearances of any of these characters if there were any, but notably, none of them seem to have appeared in any way that links them specifically to the franchise as a whole. Instead, for each of these characters, their in-park appearances appear to be either based on their presence in other media, such as the original movie or franchise they were from, or are just general appearances of the characters themselves outside of any other context. Therefore, it would be best if we do not linger here any longer, and move on to the next thing.
Which is...
Enter the Merchiverse!
No, not this again, I told you last time.
But it's different this time.
Ugh, fine.
There has been limited merchandise for the Disney Singalong Song series itself. And aside from the original videos and later DVD releases, one of the only physical items available was a Mickey Mouse microphone, available with the Disneyland Fun video that was sold in the 1990s at the Disneyland California parks.
There were also promotional pin badges for a few of the Singalong Songs home releases, mainly given out in Walmart. Further afar, there was a promotional pin given out in the United Kingdom via Woolworths, which was made by Rocket Badge Company for the Walt Disney Company. Other promotional pins have also been released throughout the years for sing-along versions of movies, such as this The Nightmare Before Christmas Sing-Along Edition pin, given out in Walmart in 2018.
Don't forget the chair! Disney ran a special promotion, once again in the United States and Canada, in which you could claim a child's inflatable chair with an estimated $20 value, for buying multiple Disney Sing-Along Songs videos via Disney Collect-Along gifts.
As would be expected, there have in fact been some pins that are related to Disney Singalong Songs. I'll start with the pins from El Capitan Theatre. On January 25, 2014, a limited edition pin was released as a surprise for the theatrical release of Mary Poppins, this time a new singalong version. This was part of the El Capitan Marquee series. Later that same year, another limited edition El Capitan Marquee pin was released on August 22, 2014, to coincide with the theatrical re-release of Frozen Singalong at the El Capitan Theatre. Speaking of Frozen Singalong pins, there were 4 Frozen Singalong pins that were released on November 12, 2016 in Disneyland Paris. These were Anna, Elsa, Kristoff and Olaf. Finally, we have a mystery pin that was released in 2018. It features Jiminy Cricket and the words "Sing Along" underneath. Each pin is supposed to represent activities guests can complete within the park, so this one must represent going to one of the attractions we mentioned during the theme park section. They just happened to choose one of the Singalong Songs hosts for the pin.
There has been a little more in the way of merchandise for Professor Owl. He has a Funko Pop figure and 2 Funko Soda Can figures, the regular and Chase editions.
He has also been featured in a small number of Disney pins, including the Professor Owl Disney Parks Teachers Day 2020 limited edition of 3000 pin, the Disney Catalogue A Toot Whistle Plunk and Boom 50th Anniversary 10-pin box set from 2003, the limited edition of 400 Walt Disney Animated Shorts Mystery Pin Set Professor Owl Chaser pin from Walt Disney World released in 2018, and the Ears of Excellence Cast Award pin featuring Professor Owl awarded to cast members of the Disneyland Resort Travel Services Company in Anaheim during 2006 and 2007, who were top service performers during that time.
Professor Owl has also had a few trading cards created of him. First, in 1995, the Disney Premium Skybox cards, a set featuring images from classic Disney cartoons. Card number 61 featured Professor Owl from the Toot Whistle Plunk and Boom short. Next are the 2 cards from the Chinese exclusive Disney100 Joyful Trading Card set, produced by Card Fun in 2023. He is featured as one of the 30 available orchestra cards available in the set, with a white background. This card has a purple-backed variant available in the same set, the Luminous Orchestra version. And in 2017, the Japan Disney Store released a series of Walt Disney Quotes playing cards for its 25th anniversary. This was a special promotional offer, where one random loose card was given out to customers for every 1,000 yen spent in store, with 54 total cards available to collect, one for each card in a standard 4-suit deck and 2 Joker cards. The King of Diamonds card in this set was none other than Professor Owl, standing above a quote from Walt Disney himself. For the Disney100 celebration, honouring the Walt Disney Studios' 100-year anniversary, a series of music-inspired merchandise was created, and one of the characters featured in a couple of the custom graphics made to celebrate 100 years of music and wonder was Professor Owl. The image featuring him specifically was featured on t-shirts, hoodies, a spirit jersey, a hat, a blanket, tote bags, a jigsaw puzzle, Crocs shoes, and many more items that were available at the Disney parks, Shop Disney, Walmart, and multiple other retailers, such as Loungefly, who did a series of bags featuring the same print. This means that the character went from having only a handful of physical items available to being present on a whole load of merchandise as one of the characters representing the Walt Disney Company's musical history. So, we've reached the end.
Yep, kinda bleak.
Or is it?
Did you know in recent years, Disney has been releasing special versions of their popular musical movies that are sing-along? From Frozen sing-along to Encanto sing-along. These are special versions of the film that were aired in cinemas and sometimes theatres where people were encouraged to sing aloud to the songs. For Frozen, some versions would even have snow effects and Elsa in attendance to sing with the crowd. Encanto even has a whole sing-along film concert with live music and characters. It's pretty involved. There have even been D23 events that have aired sing-alongs, such as the Wish Sing-Along screening and celebration in March 2024, which hosted some of the voice actors and production members who talked about working on the film. These sing-along versions always inevitably make their way to Disney Plus for the home media market.
Moving on from movies, what about Like How It Used to Be? A song with lyrics you can sing along to.
We come to 2020, a very, year of our times. On April 16th, 2020, out came a special to light the darkness of those trapped at home during the pandemic, the Disney Family Sing-Along. This was made to cheer people up and bring people together through celebrations and Disney songs. Often the videos looked a bit silly, more like TikTok challenges, but there was an endearing feeling to each piece. And that's not all. The special subtly paid homage to the classic Disney Sing-Along Songs VHS series. How? Well, the very opening shot was Sebastian at the conductor's podium before the music started, reminiscent of the newer opening version of the originals. Also, the songs often had a little bouncing Mickey head. The bouncing ball, it was back! It was also a likely nod to the VHS series for nostalgia reasons, appealing to viewers who grew up watching them and were now sharing the experience with their families. Sadly, apart from the fact it was Disney songs with a sing-along element, there were no explicit references to anything from the Disney Sing-Along Songs branding such as Professor Owl. This proved popular enough to produce a second volume, this time in time for May 10th, 2020, in time for Mother's Day. This one also featured the Muppets interacting with the host and opening it with the Muppets theme song. The rest was much of the same.
Then, on November the 30th, 2020, the Disney Holiday Sing-Along came out, and once more it featured Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy. The beloved duo appeared in the special to guide viewers through a vocal warm-up. The rest was a mix of Disney and Christmas songs done in very much the same way as the other two specials, only with a Santa hat on the bouncing ball Mickey head.
Though the Disney Family Sing-Along series was over, it wasn't the end of this line of sing-alongs. In 2021, the Queen Family Sing-Along was produced as a follow-up to the Disney Family Sing-Along. This special was specifically about Queen and a celebration of their 50th anniversary. So what's this got to do with Disney?
Well, Miss Piggy joined Jimmy Allen for a performance of Crazy Little Thing Called Love, while Animal made an appearance to help introduce Another One Bites the Dust. Both characters also took part in the grand finale, with the closing performance of Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh, Mamma Mia, Mamma Mia!
Was this it?
Nope.
In 2023, Schoolhouse Rock 50th Anniversary Sing-Along came out, and once again was a follow-up. This special introduced new sing-along versions of classic Schoolhouse Rock songs, and guess who made an appearance? Kermit the Frog and Fozzie Bear teamed up for a performance of Unpack Your Adjectives, joined by Fortune Feimster as part of the routine. Funnily enough, there was a series of pins released for the Disney Family Sing-Along. On 12th of August 2022, Disney held a special event at Epcot called One Family, in which they released a box set of 5 pins that were based on the Family Sing-Along. After the event, a further 2 pins were released online at Shop Disney sites, upping the total pin count to 7.
In the Merchiverse, we mentioned Disney100. Well, there's another important part to Disney100, which is the exhibition they held concurrently in America and internationally. Each version was the same information, with the main difference being what art and props were shown off. But yes, Professor Owl makes an appearance. Admittedly, he only appears on an animated poster that says, "The magic of sound and music," but he is still present. Sadly, none of the information explicitly mentions Toot Whistle Plunk and Boom, Melody, or even sing-along songs. And if you think we've come to the end, you're wrong. DisneyMusicVevo has you covered.
To this day, they post modern versions of sing-along songs and even updated versions of some classics. You want to sing along to a modern hit, such as the live-action Little Mermaid? You got it!
How about an American Sign Language version of Colours of the Wind? Yeah!
Occasionally, you'll look up a sing-along song and a regional version of Disney is hosting it, such as when we looked up Shiny from Moana and found the sing-along hosted by Disney UK. But at the end of the day, Disney has evolved to the modern media format and has made it so you can find and sing along to what you want on YouTube at ease.
And it's not just Disney movies. The Disney on Ice social media pages occasionally upload videos of segments of their shows, with sing-along lyrics added to them. We don't talk about Bruno, song from Encanto, with footage from the Frozen and Encanto show, and How Far I'll Go from Moana, with footage from the Moana section of the Dare to Dream show. Very cool.
Disneyland California also released a sing-along songs branded version of Special Spice on their social media for the opening of Tiana's Bayou Adventure. It even extends to other sites, as Spotify also made an official playlist called Disney Sing-Alongs, which includes many new releases and classic hits for people to sing along with.
So, in conclusion,
what happened to Disney sing-along songs?
They never went anywhere!
The old tapes may not be available on Disney+, but countless copies swarm around and make themselves available. And on top of that, Disney makes sing-along movies as well as new sing-along music videos on YouTube.
Maybe the old format is defunct now, but we will always remember it fondly.